Very much for staying with us right here on the Business Breakfast on Zed 101.9 FM with me, Nichwebi Hammond. We'll get into our business brief segment this morning, and today I get to talk to you about something very important. Now, in 2 days, many people across Ghana and around the world will celebrate what we call Mother's Day. In the next 2 days, there will be flowers, there will be phone calls, family photos, church celebrations, social media posts filled with smiling mothers and babies and all of that. And rightly so. Motherhood deserves to be celebrated. But this morning, before the flowers and the celebrations begin, I want us to pause for a moment and think about the mothers who may not be celebrating loudly this year. Now, oftentimes we can refer to people who, have lost their parents, their mothers, and all of that. And so we try to communicate to them. That's fine. Totally fine. But I also want us to turn our attention to the mothers who are smiling on the on the outside, but grieving silently inside. The mothers grieving silently inside. Now, the mothers who prepared for a baby but came home with empty arms. The mothers nobody knows how to talk to. The mothers carrying a kind of grief society often rushes past. Today I want to tell you about a lady called Efia. Now, Efia was only 28 years old. After 3 years of marriage, she and her husband finally received the news they had prayed for, that she was pregnant with their first child. There was excitement everywhere. Family members celebrated, friends congratulated them, baby names were discussed, tiny clothes were bought, dreams were built. If she attended antenatal clinic regularly, she prepared carefully for motherhood. And like many first-time mothers, she imagined the future constantly. What would the baby look like? Would she have a father's smile? Would she cry loudly? What kind of mother would she become and all of that? Then one evening, at 8 months pregnant, something changed. The baby stopped moving. At first, she tried to stay calm. Maybe the baby was sleeping. Maybe she was overthinking. But hours passed, still nothing. So concerned, she and her husband rushed to the hospital. And after examinations, the doctor quietly delivered the kind of news no parent is ever prepared to hear. There is no heartbeat. Now, just like that, the world they had spent months building collapsed in a sentence. Now, imagine that moment for a few minutes. 1 minute you are preparing for life, the next minute you are preparing for loss. And what makes stillbirth especially painful is this, that the mother must go through labor. If she had to deliver a baby, she would never hear cry. A delivery room that should be filled with joy became filled with silence. Now, many people listening this morning may never have experienced stillbirth personally. But the statistics tell us this issue is far more common than we think. Now, globally, nearly 2 million babies are still born every year. Nearly 2 million babies are still born every year. And that means that one stillbirth happens approximately every 16 seconds. Think about that. Now, by the time this conversation ends today, many families around the world would have experienced this kind of loss. And here's something even more important. Most of these families grieve in silence because society often does not know how to respond to stillbirth. Now, after Efia returned home, people visited, they tried to comfort her, but many did not know what to say. And some avoided the topic entirely. Others said things like, "You are young, you can have another baby. Maybe God knows best. And at least it happened early," and all of that. And while those words may have been well-intentioned, they hurt deeply. Because to Efia, this was not just a pregnancy, this was her daughter. A child she had imagined, prepared for, and loved long before birth. But instead of being allowed to grieve openly, she felt pressured to move on, to act strong, to stop crying quickly. And that is one of the hardest parts of stillbirth. The grief is real, but often invisible. Now, there is no funeral, many people attend, no public mourning, no societal language for pain. And so mothers suffer quietly, and fathers do too. Because while everyone focused on the fear, her husband was grieving silently himself. But he felt he had to stay strong for her. So he buried his emotions, and slowly, both of them became isolated. Not because people hated them, but because people did not know how to sit with their pain. And honestly, many of us don't. As a society, we are comfortable. We are uncomfortable with grief we cannot fix, especially grief connected to pregnancy loss. In some communities, stillbirth is treated almost like a taboo topic. Some blame spiritual causes, some avoid discussing it entirely, and sadly, many mothers leave the hospital with physical care, but little emotional support. No counseling, no grief guidance, no follow-up, nothing. Yet, studies show that women who experience stillbirth are at significantly higher risk of depression, anxiety, trauma, and prolonged grief. And this is why this conversation matters this morning. Because every stillbirth statistic is a real family, a real mother, a real father, and a real child who was expected, loved, and mourned. And as Mother's Day approaches, it is important to remember that this season can be deeply painful for some women. And while timelines fill with baby photos and celebrations, some mothers are silently remembering the child they never got to raise. And maybe the hardest part is this: many grieving mothers actually feel forgotten because society behaves as though the baby never existed. But loss does not disappear because we avoid talking about it. Silence does not heal grief. Compassion does. Conversation does. Support does. And so months later, Ifya eventually found healing, not because the pain disappeared, but because she found people willing to listen. She joined a support group for women who had experienced pregnancy loss and stillbirth, and for the first time, she realized she was not alone. Other women shared similar stories, similar tears, and similar questions. And slowly, through counseling, support, and open conversations, healing began. Of course, not perfect healing, but honest healing. Today, as we speak, Ifya still remembers her daughter every single day. But she now speaks openly about stillbirth to encourage empathy, awareness, and support for grieving families. And maybe that is where healing begins for many people, when the silence is broken. Which brings us to today's important conversation. Our topic this morning is the silent grief, breaking the silence on stillbirth this Mother's Day. Now, as we prepare to celebrate mothers this weekend, we also want to create space for mothers carrying invisible pain. I want to ask difficult but necessary question: why is stillbirth so rarely discussed openly? How do families truly cope with this kind of loss? What role should partners, families, churches, and communities play? And are healthcare systems providing enough emotional support for grieving parents? And how can society learn to respond with more compassion and less silence? And I'll be joined by a midwife who works closely with mothers and families during some of the most emotional moments of their life. We're going to have a very important conversation. Now, this is not a medical conversation, it's a human conversation. A conversation about grief, about empathy, and about healing. So wherever you are this morning, driving, working, preparing for the day, I want you to stay with us right here on the Business Breakfast on Zed 101.9 FM. Because, sometimes the most important conversations are not the loudest ones. Sometimes they are the quiet conversations that remind people that your pain actually matters, your grief is real, and you are not alone. And this morning we'll be having one of those conversations. And so please don't go anywhere. Stick and stay with us right here on the show. This is Business Breakfast on Zed 101.9 FM. My name is Nitrevi Hammond. We'll get into all the conversations shortly. But up next is Transport Today with Solomon Tetenate. Please stay tuned.
This is the pre-boarding announcement for flight 3728.
Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engines running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
All right, thank you very much. Solomon Tetenate is seated and he's ready to bring us transport today this morning. Solo, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Trevi.
How are you?
Yeah, by the grace, I'm doing very well this morning. How about you?
We thank God. Yes, I'm well too, by God's grace.
We thank God. We thank God for life.
I know today is your favorite day.
Today's our favorite
so
day.
I won't say anything, but congratulations
we thank God.
to you.
We thank God for
you made it to Friday.
Yeah, I know. Today's our favorite day, and we thank God for such a blessed day. You know,
I won't argue. Anyway, tell us what you have for us today.
All right, it's time for transport today, and I'm taking you through the local flight schedules for today. We'll look at the traffic situation in town and also some stories actually trending this morning in the aviation sector. But let's start with the flight schedules, and I'm starting with Passion Air Accra to Kumasi morning flight for Accra to Kumasi Passion Air at 6:20 a.m., 8:50 a.m. and 11:20 a.m. 6:20 a.m., 8:50 a.m. and 11:20 a.m. And then afternoon flights are 1:50 p.m. and 4:20 p.m. 1:50 p.m. and 4:20 p.m. And then the evening flight is at 7:20 p.m. and it takes 40 minutes to get to your destination. Accra to Takrade Passion Air morning flight is at 6:20 a.m. and then afternoon flight is at 4:20 p.m. Morning flight 6:20 a.m. and then afternoon flight is at 4:20 p.m. and it takes 50 minutes to get to your destination. Accra to Sunyane Passion Air morning flight 9:10 a.m. and then afternoon flight is at 2:20 p.m. Morning flight 9:10 a.m. and then afternoon flight is at 2:20 p.m. and it takes 1 hour to get to your destination. Accra to Wa Passion Air has only one flight available for the day at 9:50 a.m. and it takes 1 hour 40 minutes to get to your destination. Now Accra to Tamale Passion Air Accra to Tamale morning flight is at 6 a.m. and then afternoon flight is at 12:20 p.m. and then evening flights are 5:30 p.m. and 7:10 p.m. and it takes 1 hour 20 minutes to get to your destination. So that's all for the local flight schedules for Passion Air. Now let's look at Africa World Airlines, how their schedules also looks like today. Africa World Airlines Accra to Kumasi morning flight are 6:20 a.m., 8:40 a.m., 9:20 a.m. and 11:40 a.m. 6:20 a.m., 8:40 a.m., 9:20 a.m. and 11:40 a.m. And then afternoon flights are 2:20 p.m. and 4:40 p.m. 2:20 p.m. and 4:40 p.m. and then the evening flights are 6:50 p.m. and 7 p.m. and it takes 40 minutes to get to your destination. Now Accra to Takrade Africa World Airlines morning flight is at 6:40 a.m. and then afternoon flights are 2:10 p.m. and 4:30 p.m. Morning flight 6:40 a.m. and then afternoon flights are 2:10 p.m. and 4:30 p.m. and it takes 40 minutes as well to get to your destination. Now Accra to Tamale Africa World Airlines Accra to Tamale morning flights are 6:30 a.m. and 9:30 a.m. 6:30 a.m. and 9:30 a.m. and then afternoon flights are 12:30 p.m. and 3:30 p.m. 12:30 p.m. and 3:30 p.m. and it takes 1 hour to get to your destination. So that's all for the local flight schedules for today. Now let's look at the traffic situation in town. And today I'm coming to you from McCarthy Hills, and that's the Kasua route. Currently there's traffic spotted at McCarthy Hills, and so you should take note of that. The traffic actually starts from Wager Junction past the Regent University College of Science and Technology all the way to McCarthy Hill, so you should take note of that. And there's traffic also at Malam Junction on the same stretch, so if you're using that route you should take note of that. Around that same vicinity there's also traffic on the Gbawi Road, and so if you're using the Gbawi Road right from Malam Junction, you are also going to experience traffic on that stretch, and so you should take note of that at the moment. So that's the traffic update for you around that area. Now coming to Dakuman, there's also traffic spotted at Dakuman Junction. So if you are using the Dr. Bushia Highway, you are going to experience traffic at Dakuman Junction, heading towards where the Gloryland Hotel is located. So you should take note of that. If you are using the Dr. Bushia Highway, there's traffic on that stretch at the moment. You should take note of that. Now coming to Kwashiman, there's traffic at Kwashiman where the KFC is located. So if you are using the route right from Awushi heading towards Kwashiman, there's traffic spotted at where the KFC is located at Kwashiman. So you should also take note of that if you are using that route at the moment. So that's the traffic update for you around that area. Now coming to Accra Ridge, there's also traffic on the Independence Avenue, right from where the EcoBank Ghana head office is located, all the way to where the World Trade Center is located. There's traffic on the stretch, so you should take note of that if you are using the Independence Avenue at the moment. There's massive traffic on the route as we speak. Castle Road is also building up slowly, and so you should take note of that, especially where the Bank Square is located. There's traffic on the stretch if you are coming to Ridge Roundabout or the Tetekwashi Roundabout, so you should take note of that if you are using the Castle Road at the moment at the Bank Square. So that will be all for the traffic update. Now let's look at some stories trending in the aviation sector this morning. So Air Asia has placed a firm order for 150 Airbus A220-300 aircraft. The announcement made by Airbus on May 6, 2026 marks the largest single firm order for the A220 aircraft type and signals a new chapter for Air Asia as it continues to expand its fleet to serve growing demand in Southeast Asia and beyond. So the aircraft will be acquired through Air Asia's leasing arm, Asia Aviation Capital, and then leased to the airline and its joint ventures across various countries. And so that's coming from Air Asia. And also Singapore Airlines is significantly enhancing its UK connectivity by introducing daily flights to both Manchester and London Gatwick starting in 2026, responding to the growing demand for seamless, flexible travel between Singapore and the UK. So this strategic move not only improves options for business and leisure travelers, but also strengthens the airline's position as a leading carrier on the highly competitive UK-Asia route. So these are the stories trending this morning in the aviation sector. And thank you, Ni Trebi Hamod, for having me.
All right, thank you very much, Solomon Tetenate, for bringing us transport today this morning. This is a Business Breakfast on Zed 101.9 FM, and we have a lot of things coming up shortly for you. And so please don't go anywhere. We're going to get into a market trend segment shortly, and Emmanuel Barton will be joining me for a very important conversation today. So please don't go anywhere. Don't touch your dial. We will take a quick music break. When we return, we bring you the rest of that. Please don't go. At 101.9 FM, exactly 4 minutes after 8. We're going to get into our market trend segment shortly. But I've got some good news for you this morning. But that was also the Ga Afro Praise medley by Brian Kufo and Perez Music. Very great song there. All right, so this morning, the good news I have for you is that if you're ready to step into your dream home, then Lakeside Estate has got an exclusive offer for you. Now, with this offer, you can own your own house in just 2 years with no interest repayment. Yes, you heard me right. You can own your own house in just 2 years with no interest repayment. And this offer gives you affordable payments, flexible home purchase plan, quality homes, and lifestyle choice. And you also get to choose from a variety of beautiful homes in any of Lakeside Hills clusters. Yes, you heard me right. So, of course, your future awaits. Just imagine living in a home you love with the freedom to invest in your dreams without the burden of interest. Just imagine that. As your CIMG Real Estate Company of the Year for the 4th time, we offer you hassle-free home acquisition. And all you have to do is to place a call to us today on 020-477-5042. 020-477-5042 or 020-477-5040, 020-477-5040 or 05014186222. 05014186222. Don't miss out on this incredible opportunity. Call us now to learn more and schedule a tour of our available homes. Lakeside Estate, we say quality homes for all. All right, so we get into a market trend segment this morning. Emmanuel Boateng is over the phone lines and ready to have this conversation with me. Now, today, we are told that Ghana's economy has climbed to become the 8th largest or the 8th biggest in Africa, with GDP now estimated at more than 114 billion US dollars. And that's an improvement from 10th position last year and driven largely by our strong gold prices, alongside growth in the ICT and financial services sector. Now, the latest figures actually paint a picture of resilience and expansion despite concerns around debt and external vulnerabilities. But beyond the rankings, important questions actually remain. What does becoming Africa's 8th largest economy actually mean for businesses and for ordinary citizens? And is this growth even sustainable, or are we still too dependent on commodities like gold? And what will it take for Ghana to compete with economic giants like South Africa, Egypt, and Nigeria? And that's exactly what we are unpacking this morning. Before we get into it, let me just mention the specifics in terms of the rankings. And I see that, okay, of course, we were number 8, but South Africa is the first with a GDP of 479.6 billion US dollars. Egypt is second with 429.65 billion US dollars. Also, Nigeria is third, and then Algeria fourth, Morocco fifth, Angola sixth, Kenya seventh, and then of course Ghana eighth. Then DR Congo comes after us, and then Ethiopia also follows. And so those are the figures. We're going to look at exactly what it means for businesses and for ordinary citizens. Emmanuel Boateng joins me over the phone lines for this conversation. Emmanuel, good morning. Hello, Emmanuel. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr.
How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. How about you?
Yeah, I'm doing well too, by God's grace. Good to have you this morning. All right, so let's get into the conversation. Ghana has moved from 10th to 8th largest economy in Africa. How significant is this achievement in practical economic terms?
Thank you very much, and good morning to all our cherished listeners. As you may know, for me, rankings are usually not so important to me because I strongly align with the position that there are other important matters or other important factors that ought to be looked at beyond the ranking. Well, if you move to 8th position, that is in itself, it's a good thing. It's like you're in a class and, your position has improved to 8th. That is good. But then some important questions need to be asked so that we are able to properly contextualize your positioning well to understand really why you are there. And if the implication of your position now has some far-reaching implications for the broader Ghanaian economy and the Ghanaian people. But like I said, just climbing up on a positional ladder in itself, for some, is a symbolic improvement, and I'm not going to belabor that point. Yes, of course, it is true. It gives you a certain image, like, oh, this is the 8th ranked economy in Africa as far as GDP is concerned. But that GDP is a numerical outcome. It's a mathematical equation. And so once the variables in the equation have become favorable towards you, then inadvertently, for you to move up the rank is inevitable. Now, I say all of these because when you did say that Ghana has moved up the rank, I just got sad when you said that it's a result of earnings from gold and the rest of them. And this is the exact same thing that, some of us have been arguing about, that if you grow and your growth is as a result of export revenues from primary commodities, I think that growth is, number one, fragile. That growth is concentrated within the hands of a few people, and that growth does not necessarily translate to every single Ghanaian. We are here this morning saying Ghana has moved 8. There are so many other people listening to us whose pockets have not moved an inch, who cannot see that movement in their personal life. That is the point that I'm making. So GDP alone does not tell the full story. A larger economy does not automatically translate into better living standards. It does not automatically mean that unemployment is gone. It does not mean that cost of living has reduced. It does not mean any of those things. And these factors I did mention, or indicators I have mentioned, are the very indicators that the average Ghanaian looks at. Very, very important. Extremely important. So Ghana may be climbing in rankings, but many households still face pressure from inflation, from high utility costs, water bill, light bill, and the rest of them, and even borrowing costs. When they go to the bank that they want some money to finance their business, for their livelihoods, to name a few, the costs or the price they pay to be able to access that financing is another matter of concern. And so GDP alone is not enough. So yes, the macroeconomic environment and its indicators may be improving, but the microeconomic experience for the average Ghanaian citizen may still feel challenging. And like I said earlier, the significance truly lies in the structure of the growth. Ghana is not relying solely on one sector. Mining remains important, but services like ICT and finance are increasingly contributing to national output. That diversification makes the growth and its story thereof more credible and potentially more sustainable than economies dependent on a single export commodity. But I think ours is broad-based and then to some extent that we know is largely concentrated with the export of...
Hello?
Yeah, maybe I'm here.
Yes. I think I lost you for a few seconds. You said it's largely dependent on the export of, I guess you were going to say gold.
Of gold, primary commodities, and that is why I am a bit concerned. So at the continental level, being the 8th largest economy gives Ghana greater influence in regional trade discussions after implementation and investment negotiations. And it strengthens our strategic positioning in Africa's evolving economic landscape. But I've said, there is a drawback in the way we are growing.
I see.
I'm not saying we are more nourished. That's not what I'm saying.
Right.
But the point is that if your growth is just coming from one or a few sectors of the economy where you don't even have a significant proportion of your populace employed in, then that growth duly has to be checked. Because it's good for us to grow in such a way that the growth is informed by almost everyone in the country. I'm not saying everybody, but a significant proportion of the Ghanaian population.
I see. So are we saying that, of course, we know that the report actually indicates that mining, especially high gold prices, is a major growth driver in this. How sustainable is it? I know you've tried touching on that briefly, but how sustainable is that, or is an economy that is heavily supported by commodity exports alone?
Thank you. Commodities-driven exports, achieve for you growth, but that growth is short-lived. You get that growth in the short term, especially when global commodity prices are favorable. And Ghana is currently benefiting from exceptionally high gold prices, which have boosted our export earnings, our foreign exchange reserves, and, of course, which has also boosted government revenues. And this has helped to stabilize the external sector and improve our trade balances. Generally, that is what has happened.
Yeah.
See, the challenge is that commodity markets are highly volatile. Gold prices can rise sharply during periods of geopolitical tensions, like we did see with Iran, U.S., and Israel quite recently. You see, but they can also fall quickly when markets and the conditions in the market reverse at any point in time. You are also going to see the prices take a reversal. And that is the challenge I'm alluding to this morning.
Right.
And so an economy that depends too heavily on commodity exports becomes vulnerable to external shocks that are beyond its control. At the very least, we have seen what the war in Russia and Ukraine brought to Ghana. At the very least, we saw what the 2008 financial crisis did to this economy. At the very least, we saw what the COVID-19 pandemic, which in itself was not an economic challenge, caused this country. It was a health issue. But as you may know it, once it slowed down global economic activity and productivity thereof, it had implications for the global market. And subsequently, because of how Ghana is trapped, is interlinked, and of course vulnerable, there was a big case for us to settle. That is the reality we live in. And that is why sustainability becomes critical. Ghana must use periods of strong commodity earnings to invest in our productive sectors: agricultural processing, manufacturing, technology, infrastructure, pharmaceuticals. Countries that fail to diversify during commodity booms often struggle during price declines.
Of course.
In the case of Ghana, the encouraging sign is that our services and digital services are also expanded. If the country can continue broadening its economic base while using commodity revenue strategically, then the current growth can become more resilient and long-lasting. But I am afraid, because that is not the story at all. We are treating our commodity revenues as a cash cow, and we are not injecting or investing those monies into the productive sector of our economy. And that is where the bulk of our problem is.
All right.
It's like God has given us gold, and that gold has become a curse unto us.
I see, right. And now you talk about ICT and the financial services sectors. Now, these are areas that have been mentioned or highlighted in the report. What does that say about the changing structure of our economy?
Well, the rise in ICT and financial services, I'm sure it has everything to do with digitalization. It has everything to do with mobile money interoperability, amongst other things. I mean, we've seen that, and I think the past government was very heavy on that, and we've seen this current government, as it were, continue with the pace and the momentum. So that is quite clear. But, it is quite obvious that our economy is gradually transitioning from a traditionally export-based or based structure toward a more service-oriented and knowledge-driven economy. And that is very important because services tend to generate more stable and diversified growth over time. When you look at the ICT sector in particular, it reflects increasing digitalization, it reflects mobile money, fintech innovation, digital banking, e-commerce, telecommunication, among others. And you see, they are becoming a major contributor to our economic growth and prospects. And our youthful population as a country and the growing digital adoption in and of itself creates strong conditions for technology-led growth.
Right.
We've also seen how the financial sector is also playing a bigger role in mobilizing investment and supporting economic transactions. You see, the truth is that a strong banking and financial ecosystem improves access to capital, it supports entrepreneurship, and deepens economic activity across major sectors of the economy. And that strengthens overall economic resilience. But the general suggestion is that our economy is still evolving. The economy is no longer driven only by cocoa, only by gold, only by oil. The expanding contribution of services shows the country is building a more modern economic structure capable of supporting long-term competitiveness. But Nitrebi, above all these good news that I may have showered this morning, I have a deep concern. And my deep concern is that when you look at the literature and you look at how countries have traditionally developed, you do not move from agriculture, you run straight to services. And I believe strongly that on Tuesday I was speaking about this same issue. We have missed a missing middle, which is our industrial base. Our industrial base has become a strong matter of concern for this economy. We have failed to grow our industries. You look as though Dr. Nkrumah drew up a plan, a new generation came and said, you know what, we do not like this plan. But guess what? There are two countries in Asia, Malaysia and Singapore. They said that, you know what, this plan is very good. Let's hop on it and let's work with it. In 1960, Ghana, Malaysia, and Singapore, in fact, were better than them when it comes to GDP per capita. Today, they are far ahead of us. We used to be peers. We used to be classmates. Today, they are elected. That is the situation we find ourselves in as a country. Until we rise and look beyond what our natural resources will give us when we export them in their raw state, we are not going anywhere. We are not. It's God in God's sake, and the plan He brought us is all we care about, and it's all we will do. I think that His grace should be a sufficient reminder to us of how far we can go. Even the country he comes from does not use that model. Why do we use that? Why are we so bent on that? Is it because God will give us some quick money without necessarily doing a lot of hard work? Is it because industrialization requires significant investment in infrastructure like road network, which the average Ghanaian almost complains about every single day? Yes, we can celebrate that we have climbed up 8 when it comes to economic growth in Africa. But that celebration, how has it liberated the Ghanaian people from impoverishment? How has it changed the narrative in Ghana? What has he really done to the average Ghanaian household? That is what I believe the conversation should be about.
Well, so there are. I mean, from all you're saying, there are some structural issues that we have to deal with, from diversification
a lot of
to
structural issues, not even some.
Yes,
a lot.
But like you said, the 8th is also significant anyway, and hopefully we can get to those levels where we will actually begin to compete a lot more when it comes to agricultural processing and all of the things that you mentioned.
You had a son who used to be, 10th in class, but his overall grade point is a second class lower. Your son has moved up to 8, and he's still in a second class lower. I think that's the discussion you're having this morning.
But there's still more room for improvement, and we'll continue to push. I mean, it's good news that we have come where we are now, and so I mean, I am quite hopeful. Let's see what happens. Now I am hopeful.
Yeah, we are all hopeful, but some of us do feel like more work has to be done, and it appears
the growth is quite slow. It's quite slow. I get you. Well, but let's move on to maybe 2 more things and then we can go. You've spoken about the impact and whether Ghanaians are actually feeling that, or whether it translates to, or it makes Ghanaians better off. And you said that it's not something that we are actually seeing. Now, I want us to talk about our debt situation. Now, we know that we still face a lot of public debt and even external vulnerability concerns here in this country. How should we reconcile strong GDP growth with these ongoing challenges?
Strong GDP growth with what?
With these ongoing challenges we're talking about. From debt to all the external vulnerabilities and all of that.
I get that. strong GDP growth and fiscal vulnerabilities actually can coexist,
Okay.
either as co-tenants or co-mates. It's possible. The economic expansion increases national output.
Right.
But if government borrowing remains high or debt servicing consumes a large portion of your revenue, then fiscal pressure continues despite the growth. Let us not forget, the standard accounting equation states that your assets is equal to your equity plus your liability. If there is growth, the major question the finance manager would ask, how is that growth being financed? Is it coming from our revenues or is it coming from borrowing? If it is coming from borrowing, we will be experiencing growth, but that growth is being financed by debt. So that is the story. And that is why I'm saying that the two can coexist, either as co-mates or as co-tenants. Now, Ghana's challenge is that while the economy is growing, our public finances are still recovering from debt distress and debt retraction. Debt obligations, exchange rate pressures, external financing needs, all of these remain important risks for us. So, yes, growth helps, but it does not automatically eliminate and override those vulnerabilities. It does not do that. The positive side is that stronger growth improves government revenue and, of course, the revenue potential of the country. Because as sectors expand, as businesses do well, as businesses record higher profit margins, the reality is that tax obligations can rise. What I mean is that they will pay more taxes.
Right.
Exports are going to expand because the businesses are doing well, and they are going to export even the more. And foreign exchange inflows will improve because we are exporting more. And that will create a pathway towards fiscal consolidation if managed properly. I have said before that fiscal consolidation is not only about cutting down your expenditure, it also means enhancing your revenue. And for us, we overly focus on cutting down expenditure, and we do very little to nothing about increasing our revenue. So ultimately, the key is in discipline. When I say the key is in discipline, I don't mean the key is indiscipline.
Right.
The key lies with being disciplined.
Absolutely.
That's what I mean. Ghana must ensure, without any excuses, without any ifs and buts, that growth is accompanied by prudent borrowing, efficient spending, and structural reform. Without that balance, strong GDP figures alone would not guarantee long-term economic stability and even prosperity for this country. Grow, because all of us are growing in our lives. Some are building houses, and it's possible they are building that houses on the back of debt. When you check their personal balance sheet, it is like the balance sheet of Ghana, and that is not a good story.
All right, I get it. Maybe our time is up, and so maybe in like a minute, you can just share with us what do you think? I mean, I know you've mentioned some of the things already, but what must Ghana do to move from being one of Africa's biggest economies to one of Africa's most productive and competitive economies? What must we do? Maybe in like a minute, if you can.
Thank you.
Yeah.
In Ghana, there's a lot of activity. Unfortunately, I see no productivity. I see no efficiency. We spend a lot of money to build one hospital, to build one public social amenity. Money that could have been used to build about 10. So efficiency is lacking in the system. We lack accountability. Our structures are not supporting the kind of future we want. It is like saying you want to be an A student in class, yet you don't do your assignment, you don't go to prep, you don't study, you don't read ahead of a lecture, and you think an A will magically appear on your transcript. That is a lie, and that is not going to happen. And I think that is the problem of this country. Industrialization is missing, and that is quite essential. We need stronger manufacturing capacity and value addition so that our exports of finished products, rather than merely raw materials, will generate enough revenue for us. That in itself creates more jobs for the Ghanaian people. I've said it before. that the young guys walking around the road, whenever they see the nice flashy cars passing by, their instinct tells them that this is our money locked up in someone's, car. A day may come. We saw it around us in the African continent. A day may come, and these guys will overrun everyone, including you. And that is a problem we need to look at. See, let's look at the plight of the average Ghanaian. The young Ghanaian faces so much trouble. The data tells us that our Ghanaian population will continue to be youthful, even in 24 years' time. And that is going to be about 3/4 of our entire population. If we do not fix the issue of jobs, and the young Ghanaian hits 25, 30, 35, and they still cannot provide basic meals on the table, they are not asking for 3 square meals, because that is 9. They are just asking for 3 meals a day. They are just asking for fuel for their car, food on their table. They are asking for, fees for their children. That is what they are asking for. Light, electricity, and water, potable water. If you cannot assure them and guarantee them that, you're going to lose them, and you will lose them big time. I am saddened. We are supposed to be celebrating because we are 8th in class now. But I cannot celebrate because the grade is still a C+.
Right.
And that is not good.
Okay, Ima, thank you very much for your time this morning. Hopefully we can speak again on some other matters next week. But do enjoy the rest of your day.
You too. Have a wonderful week.
All right, thank you. All right, so that was Emmanuel Watting, our in-house economic analyst, and he joined me this morning. We've been talking about our latest position in terms of GDP as a country on the African continent. We are number 8, and Emmanuel says that even though it's a significant, we can't celebrate just yet because there still are some underlying issues that we must deal with, and also because the growth is largely dependent on good prices, and which once it becomes, which is very, very volatile, and so once it comes down, we're going to suffer again. And so we don't have to celebrate so much, but there are things that we have to do, and one of them is that we have to industrialize. We have to make sure that we do some human capital and infrastructure investment and all of that. We also have to make sure that we are consistent with our policies and all of that. And these are some of the things that he's mentioned. But if you miss any part of the conversation, you are free to visit our social media platforms. On Facebook, Instagram, and X, we are ZFMGH. And on TikTok and YouTube, we are Z Multimedia. You can go and play back the video and get to understand things a lot more better. But that will be all for our market trend segment this morning. We're going to get into a very important conversation right here on the show. We're talking about women in leadership, women in business, and all of that. I have a special interview for you this morning. Please don't go anywhere. We'll take a quick music break, and when we return, we get into all of that right here on the show. Please stay tuned.
At the clock, I see you. Are you bossa? Are you banata? You banana? You banana? See shakata? See pop. You banana? You shoot to banana? See it. You banana? You banana? See it. You banana? You banana? See it. You banana? Mini banana? DJ. You banana? Pizza. Pizza. You banana? Pampu. 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 Pizza. You banana? Pampu. 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 You banana? Mase. Pizza. You banana? Kupa. Pizza. You banana? Pizza. DJ. You banana? 2, 1, 2, 3. Somebody shout! Yeah, be yoking it. Yeah, be yoking it. Woman, you don't know what say. Woman, you don't know what say. Come on, praise Jesus. Yeah, be yoking it. Ese so biara kutuno mumane so na mushene ni monya info ese so biara kutuno mumane so mushene ni monya mumane so eso loyo mumane so eso loyo mumane so one more time I'll get you mumane so yes, you know you're in it. Mumane so. Yes, you know you're in it. Mumane so. Listen there. C'est mon boy soudina. C'est mon boy soudina. Si l'autre chuka si chebana si batute. Money, money, mama. Se puti waku mama. Se puti waku mama. Se puti waku mama. Si bossa balata. Se puti waku mama na. Se mambo yesutina. Wana tina mebo. Ayele muna rasa kutsene jigo. Wana tina mebo. La sigadazi, only manana nani manana nazi muna la chica. One day we'll pay ya, one day we'll pay ya. Now we'll pay ya, but we will pay ya, we will pay ya. One more yes, who will say yeah. One more yes, who will say. One more yes, who will say. One more yes, who will say. One more time.
All right, welcome back to the Business Breakfast on Zed 101.9 FM with me, Trevi Hammond, exactly 39 minutes after 8. And we're going to get into a very important conversation this morning. But that was Shadrach Mensah Kwesi with the tree praise medley, and we're going to get into our important conversation this morning. Now, today we're shining the spotlight on an organization that has been championing women in leadership and also in business. They've been working tirelessly to make sure that women are seen, women are heard, and women are actually promoted. Yes, they've been championing the agenda for over a decade, or I think exactly a decade, and they're having a very important conference coming up, and we're going to talk about all of that. And so my guest this morning, Dr. Stella Ejinim Boateng, she's a vice chairman of the Public Service Commission. Also, I have in studio Amanda Akushi. Is that right? Okay. She's a CEO and lead consultant of Nile, okay, yes, knowledge, right? Nile Consult, and also Edinam Eje Sika. She's a founder and president of Brazil Ghana Chamber of Commerce. These are amazing women who are doing exceptionally well, and I'm so glad to sit with them this morning. Ladies, you're welcome to the Business Breakfast on Zed.
Thank you very much.
All right, you're all looking amazing, and I can't stop smiling like Edinam said earlier. All right, anyway, so congratulations to you. I mean, 10 years is such a huge milestone, and I'm so happy to do this with you guys this time. So where do we even start from? Well, first of all, tell us a bit about the Executive Women's Network. Who want to go first?
Okay, so let me start with that, and thank you so much for this opportunity.
You're most welcome.
To showcase EWN, to allow us to speak about this great network. So EWN is a network or a platform that was established 10 years ago to ensure that, women who are in leadership can lift other women as we rise. And therefore, it is a dedicated platform for women leadership advancement. And along the line, we've looked into entrepreneurship as well, because there are a lot of great women who are also doing a lot in the area of entrepreneurship. And when we talk about, this, we are looking at both the public and private sectors. We are looking at all other areas where women leadership can advance. And so currently we are about 200 women, in the network. And these 200 women are representing about 28 different sectors, of the economy. And so we are there to create connection between women. And we're also there to increase or build the capacity and the capabilities of women.
Right.
And then to ensure that we can get women to lift themselves up and to support each other. And so when you look at what we are doing, we go into partnerships, we go into, relationships, we go into all kinds of sponsorship that to support others. We do corporate mentorship, we do individual mentorship, and all that. So basically, we are there to position women to take their rightful places, not just to be participants, and for that matter, passive participants, but to be active participants wherever we find ourselves, and more especially to have our voice and to influence policy and society generally.
Wow, that's a lot, and that's a lot of work you guys have done over the past 10 years. But tell us, what has the journey been like for EWN? What has it been like, and what does this milestone, 10 years, mean to you?
Well, let me take that. So 10 years, that's a decade of impact, a decade of positioning women into beyond executive positions, to actually look out for other executive women and try to emulate or look at the path that they've been to. In 10 years, it means that we've had women at different stages of their leadership journey. And for example, somebody that is probably 5 years in leadership, looking at someone who is already 8 or 15 years or sometimes 20 years in leadership. The person has risen through the ranks, and so you don't really need to go back there and go through the same mistakes that person has been through.
Right.
And we do that because we have a lot of pillars within the Executive Women's Network. By pillars, I mean groups that we talk about different topics, and of course, a part of it has to do with how you position yourself for these leadership positions.
Right.
And an amazing thing in a decade is that every other day we are celebrating a woman. And so I am sure that if you see 10 women who have been appointed into some board positions, you are probably sure that about 80% of them are
Are from
members
your-
of Executive
Wow.
Women's Network. And it just didn't happen. It's because within the group, you are taught to be confident, you are taught to be able to, go out there. We know how women, all the challenges sometimes, and I always joke about this. There'll be a job position and a male would probably take about 5 out of the 10, required
requirements. really.
requirement, and a lady probably would take about 8, and yet still she probably would be feeling inadequate enough to apply for that job.
Yeah.
And so with groups like this, we are able to come together and give the boost that we all need, like cheer each other on. And once you're seeing other women doing it, it kind of gives you this energy and boost that if they can do it, you can also do it. And that's the kind of impact that 10 years in EWN has done. And beyond that, one exciting thing is about the mentorship that we do, and I love it. Why do I love it? I always tell people that, personally speaking, I have done so much more just being a part of this group. Why? Because I see women, and it kind of gives me a reality check. Ooh, I can also do it.
Yeah.
And so there's this mentorship thing that goes on in EWN, and we are paired with people. For example, you have 10 years, in the corporate or in business or entrepreneurship, and they put you together with another woman who has been doing this for many more years than you. And you get this one-on-one experience. They tell you whenever you are, going and you think that you need a break, you check in with this other woman, and this has been extremely helpful within EWN.
I see. Well, that's a lot. That's good stuff. Maybe take me back a bit. How did it come about? Who actually thought about this idea? Because I think it's a very good platform, and like you say, 8 out of 10 people are usually from your organization and all of that. Who thought about this, and how did the person even pull people together and all of that?
Right. So let me take that.
Okay, sure.
Because I've actually been with EWN right from its inception.
Wow.
Even before the launch.
Okay.
But not a founding member. But I'll just tell you, so 6 great women at the time heading great institutions decided out of just informality, to make friends, link up with each other, have some lunch here and there. And in one of their kind of informal meetings, they thought about, look at us 6 women. And we are all leading institutions. For there are other great women, in similar positions, or, women who want to see these things happen. And so how do we expand just beyond informal friendship to create a certain kind of network that will encompass and bring together women who may, be like-minded and will want to touch other women and other young girls and all that. And so these 6, we call them our founding mothers, actually started the whole conversation and EWN. So just very quickly, to acknowledge them.
Yes, very important.
Frida Duplan.
Okay.
So Frida at the time was the MD of Nestle. Right.
Okay.
And then you have Lucy Quest. Right. So Lucy was the MD of Airtel Ghana.
Okay.
Right, in Telco. And then Mehdi Akutu. Mehdi was the MD of Unilever Ghana. And we had Dr. Edith Dankwa. Edith was the MD, the CEO of Business and Financial Times. And then you had Patience Achiano. Patience at the time was the MD of Barclays Bank, ABSA now. And you have Pearl Nsomensa. Pearl was the COO, Chief Financial Officer, and everything of UT. So these 6 actually came together. And when they formed the idea, so to be able to, influence and make sure that the network really connected with other women, they started talking to their friends outside of the 6. So I remember personally, I had worked with Lucy, we worked together in Vodafone at the time, which is now Telecel. And so we were colleagues before she moved on to Airtel. And so I just had a call one afternoon from Lucy, and she said, hey, Dr. Stella, there's something I want to discuss with you. Okay. And there is this, we've met together as women, and of course I knew a couple of them as well, and we are thinking that we need women so we are just kind of scouting for women in leadership, and if we build this network, we'll be able to support other women. And so, yes, I said, why not? This is brilliant. This is the way to go. And so these are the 6 who actually started it.
Wow.
And they created that platform to make sure that women can get connected to help other women. Again, you know, if you look at the trajectory in terms of the culture, and we talk about stigmatization, we talk about all the culture and nuances and the stereotyping and all that. And so a lot of women who are brilliant, talented, have every skill, have everything that they need to rise to the top, sometimes are under the impression that it is not their place.
Yeah, that's true.
They sometimes think that we can't even see other celebrated women, so every woman must be an average. So when they see people like us in EWN, then obviously we are now not going to stress so much on the negatives.
Right.
We are going to talk about the success. Successful women, how have they made it? We have all been successful, not because we are always successful. We have failed before, you know, you have cried before. But if you are able to bring these other women up, then as Edinam said, their learning curve to leadership becomes shorter than ours. You know, you can have a shoulder to cry on, and you can just walk to anybody. You go into certain circles, and then somebody just walks up to you and says, "Hey, EWN sister," and there and then you have you know, a certain kind of responsibility to connect with the person and then help. And then the next time they are calling you or you are calling them, and you know, we also believe in EWN that mentorship is not only, you know, senior people, experienced people mentoring. We believe also in reverse mentoring.
Okay.
And so some of the younger people have skills that, you know, maybe you may not have in spite of everything else. And these ones, you know, we connect with them. And let me say, just above all these that we do with all, you know, it's not always that hardcore kind of thing. We believe in fun.
Okay.
And so we have, you know, other programs, sister to sister, where we share some emotional, you know, issues that women will go through, whether it's relationship, you know, it's parenting and all that sort of thing. And when we get to stepping out, which is one of the brand, you know, pillars that she was talking about, stepping out is real fun. I mean, go out there, have the party.
I like how you did, Drew.
Yeah, you know, it's just to say that you really, I mean, we are very holistic.
Right.
So people should not see us as just too rigid, focused on just career and nothing, you know, we don't move right or left. We are human and we try to create holistic human beings. So build our relationship in terms of our family relationship, build our own, you know, psychological safe net, and build our careers and leadership as well.
Right, very important. Now, for the women, the 6 women you mentioned, I just want to give them some big shout outs here.
Yes,
right now. Yeah, very important. Okay. All right, so let's continue the conversation. And I want to know, are there other success stories you may want to talk about? Maybe some women who are popular, or some people we know that are making trailblazers that you may want to spotlight. I don't know if you would want to take that.
Do you want to put us there? I just told
so
you
many.
Out of every, 10,
there's 8,
right?
I just want you to mention some so that anybody who is listening.
But there are so many of them, actually. There are so many of them. And, you know, just a quick shout out. You know, Patricia Obunai, the CEO of Telecel. Patricia is a member. Antoinette Kofi, the CFO of MTN, is a member. You know, you go to, so many. Anita Boateng. Anita is the CFO of CFAO. There are so many of Yvonne. You talk about Janet Sunkwamils. Janet is a big time, you know, move from corporate and transitioning into entrepreneurship. Janet is our current president of the executive committee. You have Joyce Ajari. Joyce is representing West Africa. Is scholars, you know, one of the printing, you know, companies in the world. She's the vice president of SOS, you know, globally. So many. If you want to talk about them, I'm sure you spend all the time.
I know, right? I can understand.
I think
you want to mention
it's
something?
A platform that really mentors and also, as Edinam said, really incorporates into the confidence.
Right.
I don't think I've mentioned this anywhere before. I want to use myself as an example.
Definitely.
I do moderate programs. I do MC programs. What built my confidence, I would say, is EWN.
Wow.
My first moderation gig was EWN program.
I see.
It was one of our first side chats at, I think, Frida Duplan's place. Yes. I was just given opportunities to moderate. I didn't say no because I saw other women, and just being in an environment or a platform that, you know, you are challenged, you are motivated, you are given all the skills. The moment I was asked to do, I had never done it before, but I never said no.
Right.
I took that opportunity, learned, and did it. And since that day, I'll say it boosts my confidence. I have done a lot of moderation gigs, both for EWN, for corporate institutions, for programs, for MC. So maybe that's something I've never mentioned before, but this is one thing EWN has taught me and done for me as well.
And you are a success story as well. I mean, so very important. But let's talk about women in leadership generally. I know that EWN is doing amazing stuff, trying to help women and all of that. But I know there are still some gaps here and there. What are some of the challenges that women face today that we need to pay attention to?
Right. So I think that for women generally, you know, and outside of what we are trying to do to make a lot of impact, you see, those cultural nuances have not completely left us in terms of us, not just women, but society generally. And so, you know, you have people who still feel that, can I do it as a woman? Some who feel that, does it fit into my cultural setting? Some who feel that, yes, but do I have to be heard all the time? To the point that, you know, some women still shy away from even visibility. But I can assure you that, you know, visibility is very important, because there are so many people who share in that same profile you have, except you step out, you know, and stand out. Building your personal brand, making sure that, you know, you are out there and your voice is heard, not heard because, you know, it just has to be, you know, heard, but really to build on your knowledge and all that. So in some cases, we talk about representation, and indeed, sometimes you talk about, you know, the diversity, equity, inclusion, and in some situations you realize that it is still becoming like a cliche for certain people. I mean, they will say it, but really, what kind of diversity are we talking? If it's about gender diversity, what kind are we talking about? When it talks about equity and inclusion, what are you talking about? And as somebody said, you know, I've forgotten the person who made that statement, but he says that diversity is inviting somebody to the party, but inclusion is inviting the person to the dancing floor. Right. So just asking that, oh yes, if it comes to women, we have the numbers. Let's say an organization will say, oh yes, we have 300 women, and you know, so we are almost, but we are about 48% there. But what we will do, or what society should do, is to delve deeper into, where are these 300 women? How many of them are sitting at the decision-making table? How many of them have been given the opportunity to be to influence? And you may realize that it is just a one drop or two, and sometimes they even bring the people there, the one or two, just as cosmetic, you know, decorative pieces, just to make sure that when you come, I'll say that, oh, I take the board, but majority of them are down there. And so those nuances still exist. I know that as a country, we have come very far. Today, you have a lot of women who are CEOs. You have a lot of women who are chairing boards, are members of boards. You have a lot of women, you know, in very senior leadership positions, and we appreciate that a lot. But we are saying that there are also a lot of them down there that EWN, we think it's our responsibility, not just us, but other women's groups, and not only women. And we will come to that. You know, everybody, the entire society should build that effort together to make sure that women take their rightful places. We are not saying that even when the woman doesn't qualify, because she's the only qualification is not just your gender. So we are not insisting on that, and we will not insist on that. And we say that even to women, to say that we would rather spend our time and effort to build you, to build your capacity, to grow you, to be confident, to be visible, to network, to be an active part of a network, to have people you can call to, who can help you, who can hold your hand. And then when the opportunity comes, go out for it. Raise up your hand and say, I can do it. It doesn't, you can't be 100% ready. We are not looking for perfection. We are looking for boldness. We are looking for confidence. We are looking for knowledge base. We are looking for the capacity that says, the 30% that I don't have, I am ready to learn it. And so that is what we are growing. We are not just growing women into leadership just for the fact of gender. No, that is not at all.
Wow, you're looking at competence as well.
Competence.
Yes. Right. Okay. Are there any other challenges you want to mention that women face? Or
I
she's
think
covered.
she's done a very
Right.
good job.
Good job
Yes.
breaking all of those
All the
ones.
question, but of course, beyond the fact that we know with our society, women need to juggle through a lot. Apart from being the madam of the home, they are mothers,
Yeah.
and then they also have to be at the corporate or in the offices,
Yeah.
executing in high positions. And I think for many women, this has been a challenge. Of course, EWN gives you another opportunity to see women who are doing it all. And interestingly, you have all these women doing all this and also have a side gig. And they are entrepreneurs. And we have a group of women that are coming up like that. So they are executives and, top corporate organizations. They are mothers, they are wives. And they also have a side business, which usually comes out of a passion that they have. And we are nurturing this. And so, women are made naturally as nurturers. We are made to be able to multitask. And sometimes when you're not in a group and see people doing it, you probably underestimate the power that you have. And so EWN gives you the opportunity to know that despite all, nobody is saying that these things are not there. They exist. But in spite of them, you can still rise and occupy very high top positions. And, give off your best. And I like the fact that she mentioned that we are not doing that, women must be in these positions because they are women.
Right.
Nobody, buys into that. And that is why we have all these pillars we spoke about that empowers us, trains us. And so when the role is made available, we are not saying because you're a woman, if you do not qualify, you should go there. No, we are making you qualified. We are preparing you. So when the role comes, people do not have any other choice but to have you there. And you would also have the confidence to raise up your hand and, be able to take up that position and sit at that table. And we are pushing for these women who are qualified to actually learn to raise up their hands and occupy these seats, because once they occupy these seats, and this is what we all learn, once that door is opened, we do not close it. We hold it open and allow other women to go through, because representation definitely matters and it makes a lot of impact in our society.
Wow.
And just very, very
You want
quickly
to add something?
to add
All right,
to
sure.
the fact of the side job, etc. Again, we are telling women that look, you have the opportunity to let your passion also make some money for you. And so even with EWN, we have created within EWN what we call EWN Mall. Right. So the mall is mall.
Okay.
And so if let's say Amanda sells something, right, and she's still doing her business, she can do that on the mall. So it's on the mall. So I know that if I want, these shoes, I want to go to Solace. If I want these bags, I want to go to this. And it's right there. And the mall is doing great.
Wow.
And at our conference, which we will talk about later, we are going to showcase some of the, these side jobs that people have. Some are into cosmetics or, they're using shea butter and everything. We have a lot of the event planners, the Charterhouse of the World. We have the Jandels. So they're all members. And so if I need, and I'm running an event and I want decor, etc., I just put it out there.
Yeah.
And one interesting thing I remember very well, and very quickly to share that, is there was a time when somebody put on the platform, can anybody recommend an electrical whoever who can fix a washing machine, and you've been inundated with the number. Everybody's ready. So as little as, look, where do they sell the best watches in Accra? And it's there. Somebody will tell you, look, go there and say, I'm running there in the next 10 minutes. It's that creative, and I think that is what who we are.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk about the anniversary that is coming up. I know there's a conference and a lot of other things. Tell us some of those things that are happening in celebrating the 10 years of impact.
Okay, hooray! EWN is 10 years.
Yes,
10 years of impact.
Right.
And we're really happy to celebrate this. But before then, we want to acknowledge our headline sponsor for this conference, that is MTN, for making this possible for us. And the dates for the conference is on the 1st and the 2nd October and 3rd October. So the 3rd October is the gala night.
Right.
You can't miss this.
Okay.
So the date is the 1st and 2nd. You know, when Dr. Stella was speaking, so we just don't do, we do still also the fun fact, everything. So we
Yeah.
have the 1st and 2nd October and the 3rd October being the gala night. And the venue is the Palms Convention Center. That's
Okay.
inside La Palm Royal Beach. And the theme for the conference is a decade of leadership,
Okay.
a future towards holistic impact, self and family, career and legacy.
Okay.
So let me take it
Take it
again.
again, yeah.
It's a decade of leadership, a future towards holistic impact, self and family, career and legacy. So this should also give us the idea that it's a conversation that is going to be focused on leadership, economic empowerment, and also collaboration. So that we look forward and to really shaping, not just celebrating, but shaping the future of women in Ghana, in Africa, and across the world. We have great speakers, and that is going to be a surprise. It's made up of great speakers, panel discussion, and I wouldn't want to mention those names here.
Specific
I
names,
need you
right.
to be there
Okay.
to really experience it. And one interesting thing about the conference is, as much as it's Executive Women Network and it's a platform or network for women, the conference is not limited to just only women.
Okay.
We open the doors to men as well,
right.
because in an environment that we are is that small space is an ecosystem where women and men thrive together, so that the men can also appreciate what women are doing as well.
yeah.
And even for last 3 years conference, we had a whole panel for men panel.
Wow.
So that should tell you that we don't just limit it to
just
just
women.
women, but it's also open. So maybe you're a gentleman, you're a man out there, and you're wondering, oh, everything you're saying is just about women. So how do I participate? No, the conference is there for you.
Right.
You may not be a member of the platform or the network, but the conference is open for both women and men. And the conference,
you're being inclusive.
yes,
Yeah.
we are very, the word is very, very inclusive. Yes.
right.
And our target audience are professionals,
Okay.
entrepreneurs, corporate, public, policymakers, development agencies. So it's not limited to any particular industry as well. So institutions or organizations that have women network, ladies network, there's an opportunity for you to buy a table. Maybe you can't sponsor as a main sponsor, as a headline sponsor, as a silver sponsor, but that's an opportunity for you to buy a table for your women group, for your ladies group, for them to be in the room,
Right.
because they can't miss this. And also we opening for collaboration and partnership.
Okay.
Don't say, oh, because we mentioned we have a headline sponsor. No, we still open. A lot of meat doesn't
So
spoil the
what,
soup.
what kind of sponsors or sponsorships or partnerships are you looking at?
Okay, so when it comes to sponsorship and partnership, we are looking at strategic partnership rather than just a one-off support, and also organizations that are aligned with women leadership and economic empowerment.
Okay.
And sponsors who also want visibility and meaningful engagement. It's also open for that. And also a mutual partnership, that is partners also gain access to visibility and impact alignment. So
Right.
we are not limited to, or we are not closing the door when it comes to partnership and sponsorship to
Okay.
a particular industry or a particular sector. No. And once you believe in women empowerment, once you believe in economic growth, this is a platform for you to partner with us, to sponsor us, so that we together we can change the narrative of both women empowerment, of encouraging and building that confidence for women to take up positions, to take up places, both at their home and both at their workplaces as well.
And please, let me
Okay,
just
you want to add something?
quickly add this, that we are also, when we talk about strategic partnership, even beyond the conference, we are also open to corporate mentorship. So we have some corporate bodies who have, we've signed some MOU with them,
Right.
where they give up, some of their women that we need to mentor,
Okay.
into senior leadership positions and all that. So that is also available.
Okay.
We can come into your organization and we'll do mentorship for a selected woman, depending on, who you want to put forward.
Right.
And again, I see that we start from the young girls as well. So whilst we are building middle level managers and senior level in the space, we also go down. So for instance, one of the great pillars that we work on is what we call Elevate. And Elevate is to ensure that we go to schools. These young girls in schools, secondary school, JHS, SHS, etc., And, in the North, for instance, which has been one of our pioneering Elevate programs, we have over 500 young girls.
Wow.
Yes, so we visit them, we go there, and we've partnered with an NGO, and so we have people there that actually see to their day-to-day growth in terms of their education, their lifestyle, their social, upbringing and everything, and then to grow them. So by the time they get even into the university or out of the university, they already have a mindset of we can do it. We are women, but we are not inhibited by anything.
Wow.
We also have a partnership. We are still, discussing a lot of a relationship and partnership with the University of Ghana, gender. The gender and leadership, team, and that is also to ensure that at a certain point we may be getting into, getting slots where we can go and make a certain lecture or make certain presentation to these university students. So by the time they come out, they don't come out feeling that if I'm a woman, I might do something untoward before I get to grow in my career. They see women who are celebrated, but definitely not through unorthodox or inappropriate, measures.
Okay. Right. You want to say something?
Yes.
Go ahead.
So for the conference, I'm sure someone is asking, okay, how much? Because I need to be in that room. Yes, you need to be in that room. So the ticket is going for a cool 3,000 Ghana cedis for the 3 days.
Right.
For the first, second, and third. And that's the 3,000 Ghana cedis is for members. And non-members. Members of the EWN network. That's 3,000 Ghana cedis. And then 4,500 for non-members. So the conference is not limited to just Executive Women Network members. So it's for the members, non-members, male, female, is open to all. So for members of the community or the network, it's 3,000 Ghana cedis for all 3 days, inclusive the gala night, and 4,500 Ghana cedis for non-members.
I see.
Okay. So if you are wondering how to reach us, so you can follow us on all our social media platforms: Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, Executive Women Network. Our website is www.ewntree.com. And so if you're wondering how to even get the ticket, if you're following us here, all updates, including the wonderful speakers that we want to be a surprise to you, you can also reach us on 024 5001 996, 024 5001 996, or 055 305 3444. And this is not just for those who want to be part of the conference. We are open to new members. And so if you've heard us this morning and you feel that you need to be part of this wonderful community that will hold your hand along your journey into either entrepreneurship or into the corporate world, reach out to us on any of these numbers and follow us on our social media platforms.
And for EWN, our tagline is "We are stronger together."
Okay. Women supporting women.
Women lifting as we rise.
Okay. All right. Ladies, thank you so much for coming this morning.
Thank you for having us.
I want to say that we at Zed 101.9 FM, so Zed Multimedia generally, we are very much interested in partnering with all of you so that we can make this happen. We actually promote... Thank you. We actually promote women a lot. For instance, today we're having on our roundtable discussion, which is our big conversation for the day. We're talking about women. Okay. And so, we work with people like yourselves, and we want to come on board and make this thing happen. And so,
please do
count
so.
us in.
Invite us, and EWN will come and have such conversations with you, and you'll be amazed the kind of women we are.
Sure. Yes. And producer will get in touch. So, I mean, if you have people, we can bring some people on and all of that for some of our conversations. So thank you very much for coming. So,
thank you for having us.
Yes. So that was the Executive Women Network. They are celebrating their 10th anniversary, and they're inviting you to the conference 1st, 2nd, and 3rd of May at October. Sorry, yes, October, because May is already past. Yes,
you're already excited, right?
So October, I'm sure we'll definitely have another conversation before the day. Yeah, so make sure you join them and visit their social media platforms and follow them. But I was seated with or had Dr. Stella Ejenim Boateng, who's the Vice Chairman of the Public Service Commission. Also Amanda Akushi, she's the CEO and lead consultant of Nile Consult, and Edinam Jessica, she's the founder and president of Brazil Ghana Chamber of Commerce. These are amazing women who are doing amazing stuff. Please do well to go check out their social media platforms and join them in making the impact that they are making. And make sure that you attend the conference. All right, so that'll be all for this conversation. We're going to get into a roundtable discussion shortly, but we'll take a quick music break. When we return, we'll bring you all of that.
Welcome to Zed Multimedia Online. Don't forget to follow us on all our socials on TikTok at Zed Multimedia, LinkedIn at Zed Multimedia, YouTube, ZTV, ID, X, and Facebook at ZFMGH. Do enjoy this video.
People are going to put out pictures of their families and all of that. But there are still some people that may not be celebrating as much because maybe they lost a child or something like that. And so that's why this morning we are putting the spotlight on stillbirth, and we are talking about it very, very well, just so we can give somebody hope and touch on a few other things along those lines. My guest is in studio and she's seated already to have this conversation with me. Her name is Rachel Hesemati, and she's a midwifery officer at the Greater Accra Regional Hospital, which we know as Rage Hospital, and she's in studio for this conversation. Rachel, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, you're welcome to the Business Breakfast on Zed.
Thank you for having me.
All right. So, people often hear stillbirth and don't know exactly what it is. Maybe if you can kindly let us know what exactly, when we talk about stillbirth, what are we talking about?
Yeah, so good morning to all listeners and viewers. Stillbirth, we know, when a child died or a baby died, in Ghana, our viability, when I say viability, where a baby can be born and survive, it's from 28 weeks and above. Other countries is from 24, but in Ghana here, our viability for pregnancy is 28 weeks and above. So a baby that dies at 28 weeks or after 28 weeks is categorized or termed as stillbirth. Okay. So losing a baby at 28 weeks or after 28 weeks is categorized in Ghana as stillbirth.
Is it just in Ghana?
We do 28 weeks. Okay. At most countries, let me say, do 28 weeks. But somewhere in US, they do 24, 20 weeks as their viability. So where 24 weeks mostly will survive there. But in Ghana here, it's hardly for 24 weeks to survive. So generally accepted in Ghana, our viability is 28 weeks and above. So when you are pregnant and you lose the baby before 28 weeks, we will term it as an abortion, miscarriage. Right. But when it's 28 weeks and above, we'll say it's a stillbirth because that baby could have survived. You have preterms that are born 28, 29, that they have survived and they are doing well. So a death of a fetus or a baby at 28 weeks or after 28 weeks is termed as stillbirth.
Yes. So essentially, if I get you well, after 28 weeks, we can say that this baby will survive. If the baby dies, dies, then we can say that that's stillbirth. Okay. But I know people have to still go through the normal way of giving birth to be able to bring the baby out and all of that. Yes. We'll talk about that shortly. Sure. But how common is it here in Ghana and even globally?
Yeah, it's common. Let me just use Ridge Hospital. If last year we are counting about 6,448 live births, and then we have stillbirth.
When you said that, I thought you were coming to say that.
No, we have about 244 stillbirth. Then it's a concern. It's common because we are aiming at getting about 12 or less out of 1,000 births. Okay, when you look at the Sustainable Goal Development by 2030, globally, that is what we are aiming at. So if we are still getting 200 plus out of 6,000 births, it's quite a concern that we should look at. Yes, it's quite a problem that we should look at. And I think we'll dive into how we can curb this problems. Yes, and there are lots of, the education is key thing because there are some cardinal signs that mothers, we still have mothers who get pregnant and by 5 months, 6 months, they don't go for antenatal. And they come in a very critical state and they lose their babies. There are some cultural beliefs that comes in that you need a woman to undergo cesarean section, but maybe a belief will not permit her to do it, and then she may decide to stay home and then lose the baby. Okay, so all these things are factors that we need to look at to help reduce or mitigate this incidence of stillbirth.
I see. So what are some of the causes? What are some of the things that cause apart from
we will look at the maternal cause and then the fetal cause. The maternal cause will start from the antenatal, okay, where mother has some medical conditions, okay, during the pregnancy. Like there are some that have already known, they are already known hypertensive patients before they get pregnant.
Right.
And then if it's not properly managed, they end up getting preterms or losing the baby that is stillbirth. That's maternal conditions. They are placental insufficiency. That one the mother has no hand in it. It's the placenta that some medical condition and even the hypertension, if it's poorly managed, can cause placenta insufficiency. It's the placenta that is supplying baby with oxygen, with nutrients, everything that the baby needs.
Right.
So if it become insufficient, baby is deprived basically of oxygen and other nutrients. And some may lead to IUGR, where we say that intrauterine growth restriction, or you may even lose the baby. Baby may come out earlier than normal expected, and some may not even survive. So maternal condition and some congenital abnormality.
Okay.
Mother has no control over it. It is the genetic or the system that causes that and may leave the baby or cause stillbirth. And then also the cultural beliefs comes in. I'm so much about the cultural beliefs because we've had several cases where a mother may carry pregnancy through to 9 months and wouldn't allow an intervention like sexual cesarean section should be carried on her because of her beliefs.
Right.
She believes that she can have vaginal delivery, and that's BPs are the very sad one that happened recently. BPs are skyrocketing, high BPs with other features that we would say preeclampsia, because BPs are going high. You have other features that is putting you and the baby at risk. But this woman says, no, I'm not going to have cesarean section. I'm waiting for my husband to come, So, but we were counseling her to, rethink about her decision, because you are the final person who can give the consent.
Yeah.
But she went on, we should wait for her husband. She will deliver by herself. By evening, when she decided to throw in the towel, we had lost the baby. So the whole journey of 9 months, I'm a mother. I understand what mothers go through. During pregnancy, the first trimester, the vomiting, the fatigue, all you go through, get to 9 months, and then certain decisions you need to take for yourself. You end up believing, and I'm not condemning our cultural beliefs, but there are some instances when you are put on your table medically. Women should come to the understanding that childbirth is in 2 ways. It's either you have a vaginal delivery, I'll say this wherever I go, or you have a cesarean section. So if during your antenatal, we discuss with you that the childbirth is 2 ways. You could have, we all pray that you have vaginal delivery because it's less of a complication. But if there are conditions or complications that put you in a condition where you need to go through cesarean section, you should accept it and ask further questions, the things you should do that you would recover quickly, and then you take care of your baby, than to refuse the intervention, and then you end up some even losing their own lives because because they refuse cesarean section. They just want to have vaginal delivery. So you come in, your baby is having difficulty in breathing, I'll put it that way, what we would term as fetal distress. In labor, you came in labor, we were hoping you have vaginal delivery, but along the line of labor, the heart rate of your baby starts to go down. We are losing this baby, and you prevent or you don't consent to cesarean section. We lose this baby, and it's a stillbirth. You deliver the baby comes and realize that we lost this baby within the hours of delivery.
So there are times that it is totally avoidable.
Yes.
Stillbirth is totally avoidable.
Like the incidents I'm just discussing. High BPs has been picked up. Baby was fine. We were hearing the heartbeats. By afternoon, we were still hearing the heartbeat of the baby because we're still monitoring this woman, giving an intervention. But when it comes to preeclampsia, eclampsia, and we don't rush this woman
what's that?
Okay, preeclampsia, you see, when you get pregnant from 20 weeks, okay, and those who are not known to be hypertensive start recording high BPs, they start getting some proteins in their urine, and then they start getting some features like edema, chest pain, epigastric pain, they have dizziness. When you are seeing all these signs, we need to deliver you as quickly as possible.
Right.
BPs that are uncontrollable is an indication to go and section you, take the baby out. The moment baby is out, placenta is out, you see that the system starts to settle down with other management that we give to you. But when you refuse this, you say, now we just have to document that this counsel has been given to you. You are the final person who endorsed that. Right. Okay, I've agreed. Let's go, and then you take my baby out for me. But if you don't agree, we will keep documenting. And then she never agreed to this management. By evening that she agreed, we couldn't hear the baby. And then we ask ourselves, the journey, the stress, the pain, the decision you couldn't, like
the economic impact, you know, your money and all of that,
in and out of hospital, the expenses, because of certain. I believe that is where our education should be directed. So now antenatal, we do the focus antenatal so that we have time to educate our mothers.
Right.
I believe that when the education goes down well, there are certain decisions they would agree to it because you've really explained to them the pros and cons of every step of the way.
Right.
When you take this decision, this is what is going to happen to you, this is what's going to happen to the baby. Now, when you carry the pregnancy, yes, it is you and your husband. When it gets to a certain point, and at that time with the incidents, your husband was not there, you have to take the decision for yourself.
That's true.
But we kept waiting for the husband. The husband came the next morning. The next day, he came to meet a lifeless baby. We shed tears. We were so sad. Because this woman's condition, history, she has lost one baby already because of a high BPs.
And she had the chance to actually reverse the
so
situation.
So this could have been, avoided.
Anyway, but because of the angle of our conversation this morning, yes, we won't dwell so much on, I mean, the ones that people have something to do about that they refuse to. Let's look at those who do not have anything to do about it.
Yes.
You know,
so
what kind of emotional and psychological toll does that take on the women?
Yes, like we're speaking now. Yesterday, a client, she's pregnant about 20 weeks and has some complications and rushed to the hospital. She has lost twins. She's lost them.
Both of them?
Yes. This one, she has nothing to do with it. The fluid around the baby was just coming out, which we say PROM, was just losing the fluid that was keeping the babies. Okay. And there was some minor bleeding. Her cervix has already dilated. Nobody did this. Nobody caused this. It was the sister. It was the body. Okay, so this one, the woman could not do anything. And at the gestational age, that's where the pregnancy has gotten to 20 weeks, we can't do much about it than to let it come out. So such a person, when they come, you need to counsel them because the expectation has been shut down. Twins. Everybody's excited to receive twins. This one, she didn't go through IVF to have them. It was a normal twins that set in. Yes. So the counsel is very, very important. Pre, post, intra, and then after is very, very important. The babies came out, the fetus came out this morning. Before I was coming, I entered the studio, I called her, encouraged her that, you see, we'll give the womb some time to heal and then we try again. We have one already. So whatever that happens, just encourage yourself that another one. So it's very important, and the family support during that time is key because if it happens that way, you know, especially our settings where you get married and then the next few months people are expecting to see your tummy, you know, bloated up. Some few months they are expecting to hear a cry of a baby, and then you go through this. It's very sad. And then so the family support is key. It helps them so much to recover quickly. It's very, very important for the family to come in during this times.
We'll talk about the family support shortly, but a very important aspect of it is the grief of the the husband or the man in the picture. Usually we don't talk about them. How does that also affect those people, the men in the picture?
Yes, you see, we've always painted men to be very strong, but trust me, I've seen men cry at the labor ward.
Recently, we saw.
And I don't want to dive into that. But you see, they also have their their emotional weakness. Let me put it that way. They may not cry for you to see, but sometimes the way they react is I've counseled both mother and husband in many times because they also feel it, just that they try to hide their feelings. And only few will just let it out for us to see. But when it comes to the counsel, it's the two of them. That is why now we are encouraging them to come to antenatal with their wives or partners, so that along the line, in the process, both of you understand what is going on. Okay. So that there are times where the woman is solely blamed, especially when there's been recurrent losing of babies. But if we involve them right from the word go, they know that, okay, I go to antenatal with him. This is where we've gotten to. They're saying that my wife's BPs are high, and these are the interventions, these are the complications that can come up when they are part of the care. When you counsel them together, it helps. Than the woman being left alone to come through antenatal, and then at the end such incidents happen, and then you're not going to tell the husband that, oh, okay, A, B, C happened, and that is why we are. It's hard for them to accept. Right. Yeah, it's very hard for them to believe. Let me put it in that way. But when they get involved from the word go, it helps. It helps, and both are being counseled. When it happens that way, we don't just talk to the mother or the mother, but we involve the fathers as well, and then we encourage them, give them some time for the wound to, regain its strength again, and then they can try another pregnancy.
Right. Okay, just hold on for me. Let me announce the lines, and if anybody wants to join the conversation, they'll be able to. So, exactly 18 minutes to the top of the hour. This is the Business Breakfast on Zed 101.9 FM with me, Trebi Hammond, and this morning we're talking about stillbirth as we get ready to mark Mother's Day. I know that Mother's Day is actually for people who have kids and all of that. Usually that is where the celebration is tailored towards, and that's why we're having this conversation this morning, so that people that were near mothers, can also get a sense of I don't know, but have a good time as well. And my guest is Rachel Hesemati. She is a midwifery officer at the Greater Accra Regional Hospital, Ridge Hospital, and she's joined me in studio for this conversation. You are free to join us. Feel free to send us a WhatsApp on 0544-321019, 0544-321019, and I'll read your messages for you. Also, you can call us on that same number, or call us on 030-3956-641, 030-3956-641. We are streaming live on Facebook at ZFMGH and on YouTube at Z Multimedia. Please feel free to drop a comment there, and I'll read them for you as well. All right, Rachel, let's continue the conversation. Now, I want us to talk about this. Now, I know that stillbirth should be something that people know about and be able to see it as maybe quote and unquote a normal, things that can happen. But unfortunately, in some communities, we treat it like a taboo.
Yeah.
Why is that so?
Because of the superstitious belief, when you get pregnant, it is believed that at the 9th month you should deliver. So anything that happens that is not what they are expecting, then they attribute it to superstition or their belief, saying maybe there was a time a woman said she has had recurrent stillbirth, okay, because of her hypertension again. You see, and advice I give to mothers: when you go through such conditions, there are some hospitals that you should go for during the for instance, you were going for a polyclinic or a private clinic and you had issues, and then you were referred to a bigger hospital. Sometimes the referral comes to our end and the case is already bad, which people don't know. And the next pregnancy, you are advised So start antenatal at the point where, the intervention came in for you, so that the history that they've recorded will be picked up, and then you are being managed on from that point. Now, this woman has started caring about losing 2, and then the family feels that the family the lady is coming from, they don't have children.
Hey.
Oh yes. Her sister don't have children. Elderly sister don't have a child. So of course, this last one too, maybe that is the cares are put it that way in the family. We attribute so many things to stillbirth, but that's not what it is. As incidents that one can be avoidable, and one that can sometimes we can't do anything about it, like the congenital ones, the system causing it, we can't do anything about it. It has to happen. So it's time that the public also understand that stillbirth in some instances can be avoided, and in some instances too, nothing can be done about it. It just happened. Okay, and we shouldn't blame or tag the mothers who go through such problems. Every mother would want to carry their babies, get to term and have their babies. But some way along the line, conditions that they never called for, conditions that they were never prepared for, come their way, and then they lose their babies. Some they plan a whole lot. The expectation of every pregnant woman is big.
Yeah, that's true.
So what they go through, and then additionally we tag them as a taboo, as their family, as blah. Giving all sorts of definitions to that, it really has a toll on them psychologically.
Sometimes too, I think that people also try to, give some support anyway, regardless of the fact that people tag the people, they give them all kinds of tags and all of that. There are times that some people genuinely want to also show some compassion or empathy.
Yes, I have clients. You see, our work is more of empathy. We empathize with them, and it makes it more great if you've been through it. I have kids, and knowing the joy and also the struggle you go through pregnancy, and then you lose. I get clients who have had stillbirth, and I tell them, encourage them till the next pregnancy. Bring them to my facility. Make sure that they go through the process. From point in time, we keep talking, anything they see. And that is what the antenatal is doing at my end.
Wow.
You have contacts, the contact of your midwife, so that even if you are home and you see some key cardinal signs, you quickly engage her. If it's the need for you to come to the hospital, she'll inform you that you should come. So we empathize with them so that even the next pregnancy would be a successful one. And we've had a lot of instances like that.
Kudos to you and your colleagues.
Yes, they are doing well, and a shout out to all the midwives at Ridge Hospital.
We'll talk about the systems and whether they are adequate for you at the place, and whether, because how many pregnant women can even call? I know that you receive a lot of numbers.
Yes.
So how many people can actually be? We'll talk about that shortly. But what are some of the things that people say in those times? I know you say you encourage the women and all of that. Some people also genuinely want to encourage. They end up saying all kinds of things that are not right. What are some of the things that people should avoid saying, or what are some of the avoidable comments when it comes to encouraging people who are grieving as a result of a loss of a child?
Yeah, so after the comments, the insensitive comments are a lot. Where a mother who has lost two
Children,
hers was not stillbirth, but couldn't even get to the 28 weeks, and then you go to church and people are saying, hey, and say, oh no, yeah, oh no, don't mommy, I'm waiting for my grandchildren.
Those are tough.
Very, very tough. You don't know what they have been through. She has already lost two. But she can't come and announce on the pulpit that I've tried twice and I lost it. You get it?
Yeah.
You see them and you are they play with. Sometimes I would say that unconsciously they say, hey, small, mommy, but no, don't send my child. Try and have kids and send them. And these comments rather kill them. because they go back there and they're on their best and they're like, oh God, so when
me? Hey, when?
when am I also?
Why me? Sorry.
Yes, why me? When am I also getting there? But it should also be encouraged that as pregnancy, God gives,
Right.
and at the right time it will happen. The issue is when it happens, make sure you find yourself at the right place. Okay, and one thing I have noticed is that people don't really ask questions. Okay, when they come for antenatal, ask questions. Whatever you want to know, it is your right to ask questions. Whatever that is being done on you, probe further and ask why it's being done on you. What you should expect.
Right.
Okay, most people don't come to antenatal early, so sometimes even the talks we give, they miss them. Okay, the cardinal signs. Every day we have a talk that we give to our pregnant women in the morning before even the session starts. So it's very also important that you engage yourself, read about it. Google, there is a lot of information. Some if you don't take it, you even kill yourself.
That's true.
But speak to the right people so that you get the right information, and that will help mitigate some of these problems that we go through.
Okay, right. Let's talk about the systems, the healthcare and support system. Do you think that, from your experience as a midwife, do healthcare systems actually give emotional support, enough emotional support?
Yes, I would say we do.
You guys are doing well, and I agree that you are doing very well at your end. But looking at the numbers, the ratio, midwife to or mothers to midwife ratio, what do you think it's realistic enough?
Yes. So now there are WhatsApp platforms where we put our pregnant women. I even have a personal one that people that approach me, family members, church members, we put them on that platform, and each and every day.
Platform.
No problem at all. Which my other colleagues are doing same.
Right.
Okay, and we have them educating them each and every time. Put your problems there. Anything that is worrying you, put it there. So those who go through such problem, we isolate them, and then a constant checkups and engagement helps. Okay, so even if you are listening to me and you are far from range or anywhere, this also helps when you have a platform for them. And I'm sure it's something that is being done because it helps you. Have a group that you can manage, and then you are able to follow up. The focus antenatal doesn't only end at the hospital, it continues. Those who we are looking at the platform where now we even add their husbands to the platform, so that when you are discussing something, they are also there, especially those who they are busy schedules, so they can't come to the antenatal, so that whatever engagements we are doing, at least they also have knowledge about it to help the mothers. Yes.
Okay, I have some questions here from some of our listeners. So this one is coming from Stanislaus. And he says that a question, kindly touch on the role. Okay, that's not a question. It says, I kindly touch on the role of the lack of advanced technologies in stillbirth if they are necessary. Yes, I'm not too sure, but I think that there are certain technologies that are able to produce. Do we have those systems here in Ghana?
Yes. So, for instance, some pregnant women may do ultrasound scan. There are a lot of places now that have opened doing scan for mothers, and sometimes they miss some key things that are supposed to be picked up. Okay, so I understand where the person is coming from. We are still developing, and we are educating our clients to carry those scans at places that we at least not. We believe that the outcome or the feedback we are getting should be accurate. Even with that, when they come in the hospital, we still go ahead to do scans for a double check of whatever they are bringing to us. So with the diagnostic equipment, we are getting there.
Okay, we are not there yet. We are getting there.
We are getting there because since we are still getting some number of stillbirths, I wouldn't say we are there yet, but we are doing our best because over the year it's declining.
Right. Apart from the technologies, I understand that there's also the negligence on the part of the clinicians. What do you have to say about that?
Yes. So with the negligence, we each and every time, my units and other places, we keep educating ourselves. Drills and reminding ourselves of certain things that can make us miss or lose a baby or a mother, because pregnancy is life-threatening to both mother and a baby. So each and every time as midwives, we keep updating ourselves the things we can do better. Okay, the things we can do better, because if at our end we are doing over 6,000 deliveries in a year, we expect that they should all come out without a problem. That is our aim. That is what we are looking at. So each and every time, I would say that we are educating ourselves to help reduce this, to avoid some of the negligences that are
beyond education. The sender actually raised a very important point, and he recounts an incident like that. He says that I saw a client who lost a child, and this issue of negligence and the part of the clinic, and the part of the clinic was very profound. The family invested a lot in the pregnancy. At a point, the man mentioned that he went to the hospital after the wife's BP was remarkably high, only to find no staff present attending to the woman in crisis. Fast forward, they had to be referred to a different hospital where stillbirth occurred. He says that if you can touch on that. But so beyond the education, there are also those things.
So
what can we do about it?
Like I always say, the hospital you go to, is also key. Because referrals should be prompt. You've noticed that the mother's BPs are high. There are platforms, there are codes and communications numbers where you can call for help or a referral. If you don't do prompt referral, and sometimes, like you are saying, they delay and don't come to our end early, it will get to a referral point and the heartbeat of the baby is already gone. Already the mother has entered into the climactic phase. That from your high BPs, you are experiencing preeclampsia, and then you are entering into a climactic phase. Because we are the referring end, we see a lot of those things coming in. So each and every time, we are telling our private hospital, we are telling our periphery hospitals to refer early. Before you refer, make sure that you've done your basic interventions before you refer. Even in the ambulance, what care are they giving? Is there a midwife or a nurse accompanying this case? It's a continuous care. So wherever you get to, when you get to our end or whichever referral center you are going, the care continues from there.
All right, Rachel, because of our time, we have to go. But what can society do better to be able to break the silence on stillbirth? What can we do?
Support.
Key.
Keys. As every woman, like I said, would want to have a successful or see a successful pregnancy end well. So if along the line they experience stillbirth, the society should not bash them, and we should avoid the insensitive comments that we release unconsciously, because they go through a lot. They may not come to you and explain to you maybe the IVFs that they've lost. They may not come to you to tell you the miscarriages that they've missed. And then when we release such comments, they are psychologically depressed. So society, when times like this, as we celebrate those who already have kids, let's also celebrate and encourage them that it can happen again. So they should put themselves together. And then also when it happens, find yourself at the right place.
All right. Rachel, thank you very much for your time. I think it's been a very good conversation, and I have learned a lot. And I hope that there are some mothers who are listening to us today, and there are some people who are listening to us that have a change of mind when it comes to stillbirth. And thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for
really
having
grateful.
me.
Yes, Rachel Hesse Mate is midwifery officer at the Greater Accra Regional Hospital, which we know as Ridge Hospital, and she joined us this morning talking about stillbirths ahead of our Mother's Day celebration. And we all know that this is a time where people celebrate those who actually have kids. But let's also, in these times, she says that let's also encourage those who do not, so that they can also know that it is also possible again. Rachel, one more time, thank you very much. And also thank you too for also listening to us wherever you are. We're really grateful. This has been Business Breakfast on Zed 101.9 FM with me, Trebi Hammond. We're back again tomorrow, on Monday, for some more interesting conversations. Until then, please keep listening to Z101.9 FM and take very good care of yourself. And when you think Ghana, think Zed. My name is Nitrebi Hammond. I'll see you. Up next is a brighter side.
Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and share. And also do follow us on all our socials. On TikTok at Zed Multimedia, LinkedIn at Zed Multimedia, YouTube at Zed TV, ID